Hi everyone. In this video I am going to explain different types of container classes. As you already know, this container class is the child class of component class. We have four different types of container classes: window, frame, dialog, as well as panel. Just look into this hierarchy. This container class has two subclasses called window as well as panel, and this frame and dialog container classes are acting as child classes of window class. So if we try to look into the actual properties of each and every container class, window container, it doesn't have any borders or menu bars. You have to make use of two other classes called frame and dialog. So if I want to create a window container, you have to do it either by using frame or by using dialog class. If you see this frame class, if I trying to create a container using frame class, it does contain title bar, as well as you can have menu bars, as well as you can add many number of components to the frame. And when it comes to the dialog box, it doesn't have any title bar or menu bar, and most of the times this dialog box is used to take inputs from the user or to display some alerts to the user. And if you want to create this dialog container, it is possible only by supplying the object of the frame class. And in few moments we are going to see how this dialog box is going to be created. And the last one is fourth one, the panel class. This panel class, it doesn't have any title bar or menu bar, but still you can add many number of components to these panels. So let us see each and every container class in detail. So starting with the frame class, I have created one example for each and every, to explain each and every container class. So this is an example for frame. So if you look into this program, I have created a class called first, and it extends the frame class. And inside this frame, what I am going to do is I am simply going to add a button with a label called click me, and boundaries of that button has been set, as well as this button is added to the frame, as well as the frame size is set to 300 by 300 pixels, and the layout is mentioned to the null. That means no layout manager will be there in my frame, and the visibility of the frame is set to true. So everything starts from the main. So in the main method, I am going to create an object for class called first. It immediately calls the constructor, and all these things will be happened inside the constructor itself. So let me execute this program first. The class name is first, and I am going to execute this program in the terminal. So java c space first dot java. So I am going to execute it. So this is the output I am going to have. So you have just created a frame, and to that frame you have simply added a button called click me. So go back to the command prompt and simply press Ctrl C to close that window frame. And the next container class is how to create a dialog box. For that I have created one more program. I have created a class called dialog example, and inside that dialog example class I have created one dialog object called D, and it is instantiated in the constructor of this class. So if you look into this constructor, so if I want to make use of dialog container, compulsory you have to supply the object of the frame class. So the first thing is you have to create an object for frame class, and here I have created an object called f, and this object is supplied as an input argument to the dialog constructor. Then only it is possible for us to create the dialog container, and the layout for this window is set to the flow layout, and I am creating a button called P. And as we have done previously, we are doing the same thing, we are adding it, and the size of the dialog box has been set to 300 by 300, and its visibility is also set to true. So let me execute this dialog container program. So java c space dot java. I am going to execute it. So this is the dialog box that I have created. See, as you can see, it doesn't have any menu bar or it doesn't have any status bar. this dialog box is simply based upon the frame. So the next example is regarding the panel. So this is the example program for the panel. Here I have created a class called panel example, and within this I am creating a frame object called F and the panel object called panel, and the boundaries of the panel is set like this, and its background color is also mentioned as a gray. So what I am going to do is I am going to add two buttons to this panel, button B1 and button B2. Button B1 is going to have a label called button 1 and button B2 is going to have a label called button 2. And these two buttons are added to the panel, and in turn this panel is added to the frame. And the size of the frame is set to 400 by 400 pixels and its visibility is set to true. And inside the main method I am simply creating an object for and simply calling the constructor of panel example, and then this constructor is called and everything happens inside this constructor itself. So let me execute this program. Let me compile this program first of all, and then I will execute this program. Java. So this is the output of the program that we have seen now. So this is the frame window, and inside this frame window the box that appears in the gray color is actually the panel container, and inside that panel container we have added two buttons called button 1 and button 2. This button 1 is represented by an object called B1 and the button 2 is represented by an object called P2. So this is how we can create the panels, frames as well as dialog boxes. So this is all about AWT container classes. If you have any queries, you can mail me or you can ask your queries using comment section. So thank you for watching.